I'm starting with core internals, and in here basically the power plant is the last thing I choose. I choose everything else first, and then I see what kind of power plant is needed to support that. So let's start with thrusters. Even for exploration builds, I'm currently using dirty drive tuning and track drives, because these are just so much better than clean drives. And for this particular build they give very good maneuverability and decent speeds. So I get to almost 500 meters per second. Frame shift drive, this is the standard for all builds of this size. Increased FSD range and mass manager, and for this build it gives 62 light years with full fuel. Life support, this is lightweight, and the power distributor I normally pick so that I can boost speed decently. So for some builds I try to aim it so that I can boost around every 10th second or so, and for this particular build 3D gives that ability. I think this could also work with 1D or 2D to be able to boost, but then I would be able to boost very rarely. And by the way, this is pretty important. Quite often when you downsize the distributor, you have to keep them engine focused to be able to boost, and sometimes you also have cluster capacitors if you want to go for really small distributor. And I always take full size fuel tank. I see no point in making smaller. Okay, the larger fuse cube that's available, and Guardian frame shift drive booster. And then here is something that's not very conventional. You don't normally see prismatic shields in exploration builds, but for this particular one I do have this. It's enhanced low power low draw, so it doesn't really weigh that much. It's only 5 tons, so that's pretty okay. It gives shield strength of 344 with those boosters, so the shield is not very strong anyhow. If you want to have stronger shields, then you really have to go for one of the larger compartments. What can be done here if someone wants light ship, so take a look, it now jumps this 62 light years. So I could also use this, and this is enhanced low power low draw, and as you see it affects quite much the power draw, but the jump distance doesn't really move much. It is still 62 light years, 62.9, and with this it is 62.3. The shield strength drops dramatically. It's only 154, and in here is 344. So I don't want to do that. I want to have enough shields that they give me a decent buffer. And now here's also something that I'll get back to this. So the next I have one autofield maintenance, and then I have one SRV, and then finally I have detailed surface scanner. And in here, this is basically the only thing that's available for this, and it's very handy. So because you just have to launch less probes using this, and you get more money. So that's obvious choice. But in here, so putting all this exploration kind of needed optional internals, I'm left with one slot. And I could put second autofield maintenance unit, but I see no point doing that. I could put one more SRV there also. That may be useful. What I decided here is that I decided to put a small hull reinforcement, and this is heavy duty deplating. It only weighs 2.8 tons, so it doesn't really affect the the jump range that much, but what it does, it gives 359 hull strength, and my total is 898. So that's, I don't know, that's like 80% more than I would have without that. I could also put this 3D, and that would give me like over 1000 hull strength for any kind of accidental crashing, so that's almost like 100% more than I would have without this booster. But here my jump strength, jump distance is 62.3, and if I would use this I would lose only 0.4 light years from my jump distance. So this would also be pretty okay choice. I find that 2D is kind of the sweet spot. It doesn't pay almost anything and you get very decent benefits, especially for these smaller ships. And if I would just take it away totally, so if I store it, I only get 0.2 light years more. Yeah. So that was it. Here, let's go to coin journals now. So in here I also have heavy duty armor and deep plating in lightweight alloys. There's no point not taking this. It's extremely beneficial. It gives no drawbacks, everything is bonus, because the hull weight for these lightweight alloys is 0, and you get kind of a percentage based hull weight, weight increase. 0 times 1.2 is still 0, so doesn't matter. So if I would not have these, and I would not have the hull resistance, hull reinforcement package, then my hull strength would be, I don't know, 300, something like that. And that's like really bad, it's really flimsy. And then finally the power plant. So basically here's two schools of thought. Some people prefer to have armored power plants, especially because they say that in the black you cannot repair your power plant, and any damage that is permanent. So it is the only module that if you lose it, then you lose it. I prefer heat efficiency. I just find that I take almost no damage when I have that. So the benefits for me are really nice. If you go for armored instead, you can very often downsize your power plant. You could run this with 3A or even 2A, and that would be it. For utility mounts here, I have 2 heatsink launchers and 2 shield boosters. For the heatsink launchers, these I use 2 because if it would happen that I would need to kind of chain launch them, I would be in a very bad situation. With 2 you can do that, with 1 you just have to wait sometime in between them. Not a huge thing these days when you can actually synthesize ammo also, but just convenience and maybe a safety issue. These only weigh 0.2 tons, so it doesn't really matter with that. Then I have 2 shield boosters. These are 0E instead of 0A, and the reason for that is that the base weight for 0E is really low. So even though these are heavy duty supercapacitors, they only weigh 2 tons instead of 14 tons for the 0A, and they still give 50% shield boost increase. So these are kind of the Explorer's choice for shield boosters in situations where you wanna have them. And for this, for expedition use, I'm gonna have them, and also they are quite handy in case you crash into anything while exploring any geological or biological signals, or possibly going through some clouds and having these some of the crystals in there cause quite much damage if you hit them, so any defense you have in there may save you exploration data. So I have 2 of these. Then finally we have hard points. In here, mining laser. This is targeted just because, I don't know, maybe someone wants to join me in multi-crew. There's no weight penalty for using size 2 mining laser. It weighs the same as size 1. They are both 2 tons, so I just use the size 2. Then you basically, I have 1 laser for activating any guardian stuff that I may find, or doing anything else that needs to be done. It's lightweight, it only weighs 0.2 tons, so almost nothing. And this experimental effect here is just a personal choice for the expedition. Distant Wolds 2, so you can have anything in there. And then I have 1 railgun, which could perhaps also be used to activate guardian stuff. The use for this is just it allows me to kind of drop some fuel if I need to. It's not super fast or anything, and the distance between full fuel tank and empty fuel tank is only this, so it's 62 to 66, so it's not huge distance. But sometimes if I need to jump farther, I could use this. So this is the cockpit of the Asp Explorer. It's probably the best of all the ships in here for the exploration. You can actually see down also. The visibility to the sides is excellent, and the visibility to the top is also very nice. So basically, as exploration is very much about looking at beautiful sights. On that front, this is probably the best ship in the game.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3,
Asp is also pretty fast, so these particular ships gets to around 500 meters per second. I'm now going to visit the last of the explorers I need for this ship, which is for the better hull strength and also for the hull reinforcement package.
Frameshift drive charging.
This is just huge strength for Asp, just seeing everything.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage. Fuel scooping.
So basically with this power plant I can go here
Fuel
to max
scooping
scope
complete.
rate, and it stays at 64, I think. Just gonna take a look outside the ship for a while. So it's a nice looking ship. I know that many people, they don't like Asp, or they think they see so many of them, so it's kind of a cliche. But it's cliche for a reason. It's among the very best exploration ships and the one with the best view. yeah, so the heat stays there, 64. Doesn't matter what I do over there. So very nice. And with this ship I can also
Frameshift drive charging.
start jumping while scooping. It doesn't really matter in most cases. With some very big stars I have to be careful, but most of it
4,
just doesn't matter.
3, 2.
Okay, so here's also a nice feature of Asp. It has very good super cruise handling. So if I wanna turn back, it turns like this. So many of the other ships, especially the bigger explorers, kind of suffer in this regard. The super cruise handling is so bad, so it's not really enjoyable. With Asp you can just kind of zip around and go where you want and enjoy the sights. Alright, I'm gonna make an approach now. I go a bit
Orbital flight engaged.
So with many ships you actually approach planets like this, because the visibility is only on top, so you kind of turn it around and you look from the top and go where you want to go. With Asp you can do it anyway, any way you want. You can approach like this, and when you want to see something you can see it below you. This is pretty shallow approach, 34 degrees. Alright, so in normal space,
Nikon India, November,
Asp is pretty
commencing automated
fast.
flight control routine. Please observe docking protocols.
500 meters per second, but it drifts like crazy. So
Access
very often,
granted. Proceed to landing pad 07.
if I turn fast like this, it starts, especially with higher Gs, it starts dropping altitude, and you kind of bounce pretty easily to ground.
Landing gear deployed.
So I think that's it.
Touchdown.